immerse yourself into the world of Creepy Man. He's waiting for you.
Hey there, my name is Alex. I never believed in ghosts, spirits, or black magic. They were just stories people told to scare each other. But that all changed one night. I was standing on the balcony of my apartment on the 15th floor, enjoying a cigarette. The view was peaceful, until I noticed something strange. There was a flicker of light coming from the woods near the apartment complex. It looked like a fire. My curiosity got the better of me. At first, I thought it might be campers or kids playing with fireworks. But as I squinted and focused on the scene, I saw something that made my blood run cold. There were figures, men, dressed in strange, tattered clothes. Their faces were painted, and they seemed to be performing some kind of ritual around the fire. My heart started to race. I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling. Something about the whole scene felt wrong. Without thinking, I grabbed my jacket and decided to head over there. Maybe it was just some prank, but if it wasn't, I wanted to make sure no one was getting hurt. As I walked through the dark, silent streets, my gut twisted with each step. When I reached the edge of the woods, the air felt thick. There was a strange smell, like burning herbs and something rotten. I hid behind a tree, peeking through the branches. The men were still there, chanting in some language I couldn't understand. They didn't notice me, but the sense of dread grew stronger with every second. Before I knew it, I shouted, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" The men stopped and looked straight at me. Panic shot through me, but I didn't back down. "I'm calling the police," I yelled. Most of them scattered into the woods like frightened animals. But one man, a tall figure in black robes, didn't move. He just stood there, staring at me with dark, angry eyes. Then he mumbled something under his breath and walked away. That night, I couldn't sleep. I tried to distract myself by watching TV. As I sat down on the couch, flipping through channels, the screen suddenly turned to static. At first, I thought it was just a signal issue, but then I saw something in the static. It looked like a face, distorted, twisted, and staring right at me. Before I could process it, the TV switched off on its own. The room was eerily silent, except for a faint whisper that seemed to be coming from behind me. I kept thinking about that man, his eyes, his voice. I convinced myself it was just a weird encounter, but the uneasy feeling wouldn't leave. Around 3 a.m., I heard a loud banging at my front door. My heart pounded as I went to check, but when I opened it, there was no one there. The hallway was empty. Shaken, I went to the kitchen to grab some water. My hands were trembling as I opened the fridge. I closed the door, and that's when I saw her. A figure, pale, with sunken eyes and a hollow expression, was standing in the kitchen doorway, staring straight at me. I dropped the glass, and it shattered on the floor. I ran back to my bedroom, slamming the door behind me. I crawled under the blankets, shaking with fear. One night, the faint melody crept into the room as I was working late in my living room, a haunting lullaby that sent chills down my spine. My fingers froze over the keyboard. The sound wasn't coming from outside. It echoed within the apartment, soft yet unshakably eerie. I got up, my pulse quickening as I followed the tune. Each step toward the bathroom made the air feel heavier, colder. The door was slightly ajar, and the light inside flickered. I pushed it open. She was there. The ghostly figure sat in the bathtub, her back hunched and her head tilted unnaturally. The tune flowed from her, haunting and hypnotic. Her hollow eyes locked onto mine, and my breath caught. Before I could react, the tub filled with a thick, black liquid that spilled over the edges, crawling across the tiled floor like it had a life of its own. Panic surged through me. I stumbled backward, slammed the door shut and locked it. The melody grew louder, her voice now twisted and menacing. My heart pounded as I backed away, the sound seeping through the door like a taunt I couldn't escape. For the next 3 days, strange things kept happening. My lights would flicker, objects would move on their own, and I constantly felt like I was being watched. The worst part was the whispering, soft, indecipherable voices, always coming from the direction I wasn't looking. One night, the phone's buzz shattered the silence, pulling me from a restless sleep. Groggily, I reached for it on the nightstand. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. "Hello?" Static filled my ear, sharp and crackling, followed by a long, suffocating pause. Then it came. A distorted version of my own voice, low and warped. "You shouldn't have seen us." The words felt like a dagger, cold and deliberate. My chest tightened. "Who is this?" I croaked, but the line had already gone dead. Before I could process it, the phone vibrated violently in my hand. A notification appeared. A photo. My trembling fingers opened it. It was me. I was standing in the woods, though I hadn't been near any in weeks. My face was eerily still, almost lifeless. But in the background, barely visible among the shadows, she lingered. Her hollow eyes glared from the trees, faint but unmistakable. The phone slipped from my hands as dread coiled around me. The photo pulsed faintly on the screen like it was alive, mocking me in the suffocating silence. I couldn't stay in that apartment any longer. I called my best friend from India and told him everything. He listened quietly and then suggested something that made me pause. "You need to visit the Mehandipur Balaji temple in India. It's known for dealing with spirits and black magic. Trust me, it's your only option," he said. Desperate, I booked a flight to India. On my flight to India, I thought I'd finally escaped whatever was haunting me. But halfway through the flight, as I was drifting in and out of sleep, I felt something. I opened my eyes and there she was, standing at the front of the aisle, her head tilted to the side, staring directly at me. Her face was pale, her eyes hollow. No one else seemed to notice her. I blinked, hoping she would disappear, but she didn't. She just stood there unmoving, watching me until the flight attendants walked by, and she vanished into thin air. The journey was a blur, but the moment I stepped foot in the temple, I knew this place was different. There were hundreds of people, many of them screaming, crying, or visibly distressed. The energy in the air was heavy, almost suffocating. I was directed to a priest who listened to my story without blinking. The priest performed a ritual, murmuring ancient mantras while waving incense around me. I felt a sudden chill behind me, and when I turned my head slightly, I caught a glimpse of the ghostly figure again. She was standing just behind me, staring at the priest with hatred in her eyes. The priest chanted louder, his voice trembling, and suddenly she vanished. "You're free now," the priest said, handing me 3 black balls as prasad. "Take these with you, but remember, when you leave the temple, no matter what you hear, do not look back. The spirit will try to call you, but if you turn around, it will possess you again and you won't be able to escape." As I walked out of the temple, I tried to keep calm. The air outside felt lighter, but I could still feel the weight of the warning hanging over me. Then, just as I passed the last gate, I heard it. A voice. My name. It was unmistakable, coming from inside the temple. I froze in my tracks, every hair on my body standing on end. My heart was pounding. The voice called my name again, more urgent this time. I wanted to turn around so badly, but I remembered the priest's warning. I kept walking, faster and faster, ignoring the voice. It called out one last time, louder, more desperate. I broke into a run and didn't stop until I was far away from the temple. I didn't look back, not once, and since that day I haven't heard or seen anything strange, but sometimes, in the dead of night, I still hear that voice in my dreams, calling my name. I'll never forget that moment in the temple, the moment I almost turned back, and I know if I ever do, she'll be waiting. And there you have it, the harrowing tale of that night, a night that forever changed my perception of reality and the unknown. But I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced something chilling? Or do you have a story from someone else that left you questioning what's real? Please share your encounters with us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Your support is what keeps us going and allows us to bring more spine-tingling stories to you. Thank you for being part of our community, and remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that are just waiting to be told. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes open. Bye.